Welcome to the Game Break Now podcast, where tomorrow's NBA stars shine today. I'm your host, Cody Ramsey, and I'm here today with a very special guest, Samuel Obenjo. Samuel is a 6'10 forward who represented Sweden in this past summer's FIBA U18 European Championship, where he averaged 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. Thank you for joining us today.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me.
Of course. So, just like every interview, I like to start with some of the basis. What kind of got you started in basketball, and we'll just kind of go from there. Tell me what got you started in basketball and how your journey has gone so far.
So I never really wanted to play basketball when I was younger. Like being from Sweden, I wanted to play soccer, like all my friends did when they were young. But my dad was like super into basketball because he played basketball in Kenya and then he played basketball when he came to Sweden. So he was super into it. So I remember like we had a whole week where I just wanted to do soccer, and he'd like we got like males and stuff from different teams, and they wanted me to play when I was like young, to just try it out. And then he basically forced me into it and told me like, "You gotta go and do this thing," because I did it. And since then, all my family members been doing this. So all my brothers and sisters have been playing basketball one time at least.
Yeah, no, Sweden is a big soccer football country. I know I'm from the U.S. I'm from California, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic is has to be
Yeah,
a big star in Sweden.
yeah,
I'm sure he's many role models for one way or another because he has a personality. But
yeah.
um, so you said that your father played professionally in Kenya, correct?
Yeah. He got a scholarship and played in a high school in Kenya, so like a private high school, and won like state championships and all of that in Kenya. And then he moved to Sweden because he was here for like a trip or something. And then a coach saw him play, and then he recruited him, and he started playing in Sweden when he was about 20 some.
That's awesome. No, that sounds like a great journey, and I mean it sounds like that's how you got introduced to the sport itself. Tell me a little bit about your journey in Sweden. What are the youth leagues like in Sweden? I know that stateside here we have AAU and different things like that. Do they have anything representative in Sweden like that?
So in Sweden, when you're younger, like until you're 13, you don't play with like scores and stuff. You just play on a smaller court on like low hoops, and you play like just for fun. Basically, you don't have any scores or like any rankings and stuff. But when you get to like 13, then you start playing on like a bigger court with like big hoops, and they start taking scores, and they start like getting like ranking and standings and all that. But it's not like it is in the US with AU and that stuff. We don't have as many tournaments and stuff when you're young. So it's been different. I played like in the Stockholm region because I'm from Stockholm. And then I played 1 year up. So I played with like older people, but we started playing like the Swedish championship I was like 15. I played my first, and then I played that until I was 17 and moved to my high school in Sweden.
Awesome. No, that's great. Is this your first year coming? We'll probably get to this a little bit later, but is this your first year coming to the US?
No, I got family in North Carolina. They live there now, so I've been in Denver. I've been in Colorado. I've been in New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut. So I've been in like a couple of places. It's my first time on the West Coast though, like this West. But I've been in the US a couple of times.
Awesome. No, that's amazing. Um, I know that, like we were saying earlier, um, basketball isn't as big in Europe. I mean, it's a growing sport for sure. Did you watch the NBA growing up? And if so, did you have a favorite player?
For me, it was kind of hard watching like the NBA because most of the games were like at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, like in the morning. So it was hard to catch up with all that. But I used to watch a lot of highlights, like and game recaps the day after, and I really like watching KD, Giannis. So those were the two like main I watch. Of course, it's fun to watch the guards too because the guards do like crazy stuff, like watching Westbrook when he was younger and like now John Morant and Kyrie and them. It was also fun, but mainly KD and Giannis.
There's a thing going on in basketball where it becomes positionless, and we have these freak athletes like Giannis, like KD, like Victor, who have guard skills at their size. And there'll be a tape put out shortly after this interview where you display the same kind of attributes. Did watching those highlights kind of influence your style of play?
Um, Yeah, I would say that helped me a lot, just like watching other people do stuff, especially because those guys have like a similar type of body as me. It made me realize I can also do all that stuff, and made me like on the when I then practice with the team, practice on my own on like my dribbling and like vision and all that, so I could be doing the same thing that they were doing.
Most definitely. I can definitely see that influence in your game. Most recently you played for the FIBA U18 tournament for Sweden. How is it representing your country? I mean, that's a big thing to do at a national stage.
For me, I always like representing Sweden. Like I've always been like appreciated and like grateful that I had the opportunity ever since 2021 to play for Sweden in different camps and different like youth stages. I've always loved that. And putting on the Swedish like jersey and going in the A division this year, especially this year compared to like the years before, was different. Like for me, it was like because it's my like generation this year, so it was so different with all my. I knew everyone on the team. We were all super close on and off the court because we link up like when we don't play basketball, we link up and do stuff together. So it was we had a super great time this year. It was the dopest experience I've had with the national team in all my years.
That's amazing to hear, the camaraderie between teammates and stuff. You guys were a very, very talented team. A lot of guys on that team will probably be playing professionally. I'm not gonna lie to you, including yourself. Ranking in the top five in, I'm a big stats guy, and I believe that you ranked in the top five, if not second, in at rim finishing, in that tournament. So it's something to be said about that. Um, So now going into this year, tell me about your process and what made you decide to go Layton Christian in Utah.
Um, so for me, like the main thing was like I was first at Arizona Compass, and I was grateful for being in that environment, and I taken with me a lot of things that the coaches there and the players there taught me. But I felt like I could compete and like develop there. But for me, it's my senior year, and I also needed like looks from more coaches and more colleges and stuff. And I felt like Coach Stanley here, he knows his stuff. He's been coaching college for 15 years, and it's an international school where like a lot of international kids here, so you don't feel as like different as I did there because it was like less international people. And as I said, Coach Stanley has his program. He's been running this great the last year, and we got a great squad this year. And I felt like Coach Stanley had like the things that could take me to the next level and help me in my college recruitment. And the players around me could push me and make me better.
That's amazing to hear. A lot of the time when looking at how much somebody succeeds, it's a lot about fit and comfortability, and it seems like you found somewhere where you can have both and really start to excel and develop your skills. Um, so looking a little bit at a different, more philosophical question here, if you were to give any advice to younger players looking to pursue a passion in basketball, what would that be?
I would just say like work hard every single day. Don't look at like 1 year at a, like one day like don't take one day for granted. Every time do your hardest, do all the small things. Don't just focus on like scoring or blocking or dunking. Do all the small things like running up the lane the hardest, talking the most on defense. I would say those are like the key things, and those are like the advice I give people asking me like how to get to the Swedish national team. Just the small things. That's the most important thing.
Most definitely. It really is the small things that really set you apart. Um, Now I have to ask you this. Have you received any offers from any college programs that are really catching your attention?
So I got three offers right now. My first one I got was from UT Martin. I got that like 2, 3 weeks after the championship, talking a lot with the coaches until this day, most with the head coach and the assistant coaches there. After that, a couple of like 1 week after that, I got an offer from UCF from their associate head coach. Been talking a lot to him, talked to him the year before also a little bit. So I have a kind of strong relationship with him too. And then after that, I got from LaSalle. That's my most recent one. I got that like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And yeah, I just feel like I have a great conversation with all those coaches. I have a great thing going on with all those. And yeah, just looking forward to see. I had a conversation with another coach that hasn't like offered me yet too. So for me, I'm just waiting to see what the season holds for me and then hopefully pick up the right place for me after the season.
That's amazing. No, that's amazing to hear. You're a very talented player. I'm sure coaches will be knocking on your doorstep as soon as they get to see you play in this season. Um, Now looking at where you may decide to go next, are there any attributes that you feel yourself kind of gearing towards? You said that it's a lot about, you know, the coaching and, the experience and really striving with your teammates and things like that. Is there one specific factor that you kind of put overall, or is it more so a judgment call for you as an entire program?
For me, I learned a lot, like now moving from Arizona here. I learned a lot of being at the best might not always be right for you. So for me, I'm being more like looking more into how the coaches approach me, how they see. For me, I'm a big development guy. Like for me, I don't care if I go to, I know a lot of freshmen doesn't play that much the first year. So I don't care if I go to a college and I play 20 minutes my first year or if I play 1 minute a game my first year. For me, it's most about development, getting better every single day, working on my game and seeing that the coaches and the coaching staff and the program has a plan for me and that it's been working for other guys with a similar type of body or play style as me.
I love that answer. That's amazing to consider because many times you see these freshmen that are highly touted go to a big five school and they get 1 minute of playing and then now they're transferring out because the fit wasn't right. Seems like you're taking into consideration the fit, the coaching, and development. So I think you're on the right path there. Um, so in looking at this in retrospect, was there a specific moment that you found yourself and you're like, wow, I can really do this going forward. I can make the national team. I can do this. Was there a specific moment when you were playing that you found that you're like, okay, I need to really go hard at basketball?
I would say that had to be like I had two of those moments. I had one before my first national team camp because I remember we had like a small camp where it was like 200 players invited and it was like across like Sweden in different regions. And I talked to one of my friends at that time and I told him like yeah, right now for me, I don't care that much if I get selected or not. But if I get selected, then this is for real. And then I got selected and I got to practice with all them like good players and everyone was so much better than me during that time. So when I came back to my old club, I started working much harder and I got much more confidence just to make the team the next year. And apart from that, I would say now my after my junior or after my sophomore year, when I came back from my junior year at my high school in Sweden, I just felt like I had more confidence because that was after my first year playing in the A division, and that was after Basketball Without Borders, and I've been around so many great coaches and players during that time. So when I came into the season, I felt I was filled with confidence, and I felt like my game just developed, and I kept on working harder and harder from that moment.
Most definitely. It seems like you're well traveled, have a wide amount of experience, and it seems like you're on the right path. What do you consider your greatest strength on the basketball court?
Um, I would say most like IQ and unselfishness. For me, I don't care that much if I score 20. and we like win, or if I score five and we win. For me, it's just about getting the win and getting my teammates involved. That's my like two biggest things. So I would say IQ and unselfishness. If I would go more into detail, I would say I think I could guard one through five. I could like contain all from good guards to worst guards, same with bigs and all that. So I would say defense is a big thing that I like to do, and transition offense.
Perfect. No, those, I mean, looking at your FIBA tape, I have that coming out here just after the interview. So anybody that watches this interview, there will be Samuel's tape coming out shortly thereafter of his FIBA tape, and you can see his strengths, his transition offense is crazy. His ability to make connective passing, his pick and roll. He plays on the wing. Like there's so many different attributes that his play style fits. Um, Now looking at the opposite side of that question there, what do you feel like you need to work on or have been working on maybe to take your game to that next level?
Um, I would say I have to work more on my shooting and ball handling. I think that's where the game is going. Like it's developing more to that thing. Like we talked about KD and Wemby and Giannis being able to like push the ball and shoot and all that. So I felt like for me to develop my game to the next level, I should focus on those two aspects. But of course, I'm also gotta focus on my physicality because I know that ain't the best. So I gotta get bigger, get stronger, continue to work on my shooting, as I said, and my ball handling, so I could excel and be more as a free when I get older.
Perfect. No, that sounds amazing. You were saying that you can guard 1 through 5. Um, I also think that, you could probably play 1 through 5 if given a chance. Um, on offense, I haven't gotten to see any of your tape past the FIBA tournament this past summer. Have you been working on kind of this positionless style, or what position do you see yourself in going forward?
Um, so here at Layton, I've been playing a lot with the four and the five, but we have a system where like if I get the rebound, I get to push the ball and like make decisions, and we play very positionless because it's like the guard, if they score and we take out the ball, the guard is dribbling up the ball, but then the bigs are basically making a lot of the reads for us because so we're very like positionless, play like a lot of colleges do. So, but apart from that, my old high school in Sweden, I got to play like if I had a big advantage against like the guy who was guarding me, I got to play the point guard, I got to play the three, the four, the two, the five, depending on who's guarding me, because the coach saw me as like tall, but I'm not that slow for my size. So most of the time when we ran pick and roll, me as the one and the five with me, then I'll most of the time could find an open pass to either the five or to a kick out guy, and we often got buckets from that.
That's amazing to hear. Yeah, no, it seems like you're incredibly versatile and incredibly young, still molding your game and developing in different areas. Um, Now I have to ask this to get to know you better, Samuel. Do you have any interests or hobbies outside of basketball?
Um, I would say I had more hobbies when I was in Sweden. Then used to play, like I used to play video games all the time. I used to like just chilling with my friends, and I kind of do the same thing here. Like we have a game system here, so I play a lot of video games with my teammates here. But the main thing I like to do is I like to connect with people. I like to talk with people. So I mostly be on the phone. Like right now, before I join this interview, and probably after I leave this interview, I'm gonna be on my phone with people in Sweden. And then when they go to bed, I'm gonna be talking a lot with my people in the house. And then after that, later on the in the evening, I might talk to like the Swedish people I know in the States. So I just like connecting with people, staying in contact with people, knowing what's happening around like my circle, knowing what people been doing and going through. I just like talking and giving like advice and stuff.
No, that sounds amazing. It sounds like you're very outgoing. One of the nicest people I've ever had a chance to interview. So thank you once again. Um, so are you currently enrolled in high school still at this moment?
Yeah, I graduate next year.
Oh, awesome. So I know that it's hard being a student athlete. How do you keep that personal life and your busy schedule balanced? Is it some sort of routine that you've gotten used to over time, or is it something entirely new that you're in the United States now that has taken some time to adjust?
I would say it's different being a student athlete in the States than it was in Sweden because in Sweden we have like bigger tests but less assignments. So then you just have to like focus on the tests and stuff to get your grade. But here it's more like every day you have to keep up with all the things you've been doing to get your grade. So I have a routine. I just like try to finish as much as I can during class. And then when I get home, I'll finish the rest as soon as possible. So I have as much free time as I can to just practice more or talk with my people.
That's amazing. No, I think that keeping a healthy balance between the two is definitely needed so you don't get burnt out on one thing. Well, Samuel, I really want to thank you once again for joining us today. It's amazing to hear your insight. As an international player, it's very different coming to the States. Um, but I really appreciate you taking the time to getting taking the time to allow us to get to know you better. You're a big name coming up. I I full-heartedly believe that you're going to succeed at any level you play. Um, we'll make sure to keep an eye out for you because I think there's big things to come. Um, Samuel's information will be linked below when this video drops. Go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter, Instagram, um, and continue to support Samuel. He's one of the rising stars out here.
Once again, I appreciate you for having me. Appreciate this opportunity and getting to spread my information through your platform. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. We'll have to reconnect here in about 12 months because 12 months is going to look very different for you. You'll most likely be in college at that time with the decision that you've made, and we'll have to catch up and see what you learned in the past 12 months.
Yep, for sure, for sure. We gotta.
Perfect. Well, Samuel, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again. I'll see you around. Bye.